Welcome to Before Floor, the pregame edition of Five on the Floor, brought to you by the Five Reasons Sports Network. I'm your host, Jonathan, aka Three Piece Combo. I'm joined by a couple of smart guys over here. We're joined by Mr. Tim A, rocking the Heat jersey, Mr. Marco Romo, and Mr. Mateo Mayorga. How you guys doing?
Very good.
Pretty good,
Let's
pretty
get this
good.
dub.
Awesome. We're playing the Pelicans tonight, of course, without no Zion Williamson or Brandon Ingram, and Miami is pretty close to full health, minus, of course, the clear scratches that we typically have. But before we get into that, of course, we want to make sure that if you guys are driving home, make sure you guys get home safe. And if you are home in a safe spot, make sure you guys like the video. Make sure you guys subscribe if you're a Miami sports fan. And you had to write up Alejandro. Make sure you guys also go to markbrownpa.com, right? That's marcbrownpa.com, or give them a call, 954-866-8513. The reason you want to do this, if you're young and you're with a family, you want to make sure all your assets are protected if something does happen to you. He's going to take care of you. He's going to give you a free consultation. He's based out of the North Lauderdale area, services the entire South Florida. So basically, if you live in Florida, he'll take care of you. Like I said, his website's marcbrownpa.com, like Alejandro beautifully has it up, or reach out to him, 954-866-8513. Make sure you give your business to a Heat fan and not a Pelicans fan or a Lakers fan. Now, you guys know after we do everything, we go to our prize picks, right? We have our rapid fire prize picks all the time. We're pretty good over here. We get you about 75%, and we want to make sure you guys maximize your money. So what we'll do, if you guys go to prizepicks.com, use that promo code 5, like it's spelled out on the screen, FIVE. We're going to match your initial deposit up to $100, and that's literally 20 free days of fantasy if you play every single day. So, go ahead to prizepicks.com, use that promo code 5, and like I said, we'll match your deposit up to $100, and go ahead and get some free plays. Now, guys, we're playing the New Orleans Pelicans, and they're a little bit short-handed, so it's, should be a tougher time for the Heat given we play down to competition. But let's start with the top here. Mateo, Bam, is tied for leading the league in paint points right now. Obviously, no Zion Williamson on the other side. Where does Bam pick his spots tonight? How aggressive do we see him?
Jonathan, I think we're going to see an ultra-aggressive Bam tonight. The Pelicans are at risk of him scoring 30 points tonight. The primary matchups for him are going to be Jonas Valanciunas and Najee Marshall, how I see it. And Jonas is someone who lives in drop coverage, and the Heat pretty often go to pick and roll. We know how deadly Bam is when he puts his head down and gets a head of steam going to the rim. Like you mentioned just now, he is number one tied with Giannis Antetokounmpo for points scored in the paint. Najee Marshall, his next cover, is someone who is a very good defender, but I think a little too short and not as strong to stay in front of Bam Adebayo. I think he can be overpowered in the baseline at the elbow for some close range buckets. I think Bam, when Jonas Valanciunas is not on the floor, if he's very aggressive attacking the rim tonight, he's going to require the help of an extra defender and expose areas on the floor for shooters for the Miami Heat.
Now, to continue with the point of them not having Zion Williamson, Marco, they're also not going to have Brandon Ingram, right? That's essentially their two top guys. Obviously, we know they have a couple guys like CJ McCollum that's good on their team. Who do you expect to step up for the Pelicans? Like, which one of those guys, maybe coming off the bench, do you expect to kind of fill some of that holes that's left by their two-star players?
All season, it's been a lot of their wing guys like Herb Jones, who's not playing tonight as well, so he's not going to be able to be stepping up for them tonight. I'm going to keep my eye on Trey Murphy. That's my guy. He's been one of my favorite rookies whenever he had his rookie year. I remember seeing him in Summer League. I was like, this guy's going to be good, and I'm really glad he found his footing, and he really had his coming out party last year in the playoffs. I think he's having an even better season this year. I really look at him as being one of the catalysts tonight outside of CJ, obviously, but it's been a lot of their Najee Marshall, Trey Murphy, Jose Alvarado. Those guys have been pretty much perfect role players for the three-headed monster that they have. And without those guys, it'll be a lot tougher for them. But it's the kind of team that will definitely grind it out. For as good as they are offensively, they're really good defensively. So, but again, with no Herb Jones, that's going to be a lot tougher. But keep my eye out for Trey Murphy. A lot of Heat fans are going to learn that name. The dude is just awesome. I really love him. I think he's going to be a real role player for this league for at least 10 years. He's one of those guys that you just know is going to stick around forever.
Awesome. And you spoke about the great defense of the Pelicans. They're second, Timmy, in three-point defense. Obviously, they're missing a couple guys tonight. But how can Miami get good looks against a team that defends the three so well?
No, without Herb Jones, that actually makes it much easier because I think Herb Jones is one of the three most underrated players in the league. But ball movement, and with Larry being back, this is going to be one of the few times that he actually gets to start their preferred lineup. Even though they haven't looked the best, so we taking away Gates minutes. So I'm a bit worried. I know you were worried about playing down the competition, but I'm also worried that the chemistry between our top five, not top five, but our starting five, just doesn't exist. I don't know, and I don't know if we're too late in the season to be trying to force it. Like I saw someone post a stat yesterday. Caleb has played 90% of his season at the four. Is that the reason why his body is broken down so much? Like we don't know, but I'm happy to trade that last in 2 or 3 weeks because we really have to figure out what's happening with this team. Um, I'm not on the boat that like ship off Larry and start Gabe now. Larry also isn't, doing what he's supposed to be doing. It's just such a weird fit. But to answer your original question, without Herb, it's going to be much easier. But don't sleep on Marco's favorite Trey Murphy. That's my on 2K. That's my guy. I was like 30 points for Trey Murphy. But like the on purpose person product, like that guy is good. He plays. He could do basically anything in the court. He's a good defender. But shout out to Willie Green, man. He was my coach for coach of the year. He just has implemented a really good defense. He came up. I think he coached with was it the Warriors or the Suns? I can't remember who he was with. Can't remember
I think
whose bench he was on. But it was a good defensive team. The year he was an assistant coach. So, and that drop really flummoxes a lot of teams, and I'm happy that he'd have learned how to with our Kentucky guys to attack that drop. But for sure, I think just by not having Bi or Herb, it's going to be much easier to get the shots up. With the Heat, the issue hasn't been the attempts. The attempts were the issue. The first, I'd say, 15 games of the season. The issue has been, as Brady said, the Heat are basically 29th. Like we're horrible, or 30th in the 3-point percentage. We're getting the shots. We have to make them. Just have to make the shots. And I mean, we're in a 2-year slump almost with Duncan. Like we gotta get some actual shooters. Even though they said on the floors as yours that guys will be shooting 45% before Miami and reach here and shoot 35%. I hope that curse comes to the end one day.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, we've had a couple of reverse situations, with guys like Jay Crowder, guys like Gerald Green of having good stretches shooting the three. So, we have some good and bad luck with the role players maybe coming and getting better or worse when it comes to the 3-point shot. But let's talk about Victor Oladipo Mateo, right? He has been probably more than we can have asked for or imagined as a guy coming back from, a knee injury and then another one essentially from the other leg compensating too much for it. So he had 10 assists with 0 turnovers last game. Obviously, with Kyle Lowry back, you're not going to see that type of performance, with the playmaking. But what do you expect Vic to give us on the playmaking side and as a whole tonight?
Truthfully, not the most efficient night from the field. By the time he gets on the court, I think Jose Alvarado will starting to get some playing time, and he is a pest. He is someone that caused Chris Paul to take a swing at him in one of the games. But I think on the defensive end is where Victor Oladipo is going to shine, because he is someone who is one of the Heat's best players at staying in front of ball handlers, at stopping the ball on the outside, and he is a hawk intercepting passes in the lane to. He's one of the players that starts the Heat's limited transition opportunities. I just don't see him being so efficient on offense because the New Orleans Pelicans are very good in the zone, and with them having a very long team at the wings and at the front court spot, like you guys mentioned earlier, Trey Murphy, Najee Marshall, these guys are very good backline defenders who are also long and intercept a lot of passes, starting the break for that team. But on the defensive end is where I just want to say Victor is going to shine tonight. He's the best bet that the team has at stopping CJ McCollum. Thank you.
Yeah, I would absolutely have to agree with you. His defensive legs have just given us, especially at the point of attack, right? We're having to use Caleb as a 4 and then also your best point of attack defender. And it was just too much on his plate to have him do both. So now having Vic at least being able to cover that hole helps out a lot. Marco, I know this one wasn't on the rundown, but I want to talk a little bit about Tyler Hero and the matchup he has tonight, right? Obviously coming back from that injury, had a solid game out last time. Where do you think his spots will come tonight against the defense? Obviously it's a drop defense in the Pelicans, but where do you think he's able to get his today?
I think the drop is perfect for him. He's been a drop killer since last year, honestly. It's been the man-to-man defense that's given him trouble. The zone defenses a little bit, but he's figured out the drop really, and he's only gotten better at it since then. I look forward to him and Bam running as many pick and rolls as possible. I think he and Bam still have a top 5, top 10 PNR duo in the league, stat I mentioned earlier in the year, and that still hasn't gone down. They're still lethal at that. But he's come back from the injury. It's going to take some time, but I think the second game he's going to be like, okay, I find my footing. I'm gonna chuck away, especially on the pull up threes. He's been really good at pull up threes this year. I think somebody pulled up a stat that he was top 5 in pull up 3-point percentage. Guys like Tyrese Halliburton, Steph Curry, those guys are top 5 as well. So I look forward to him just getting up as many threes as possible. He's playing more like a Steph guy now. He's shooting a lot more. Spo told him, you got to shoot more, but it's also got to come within the flow of the offense. And that's what he's done more recently. In the first 15 games, it was really, really it's really kind of a mismatch. He wasn't shooting the shots that the defense was giving him. He's kind of forcing a lot. Now he's really just getting the shots up there, and I love that. And he's still shooting them efficiently, which is awesome. So I look forward to him kind of taking it out on the Pelicans tonight after that kind of frustrating 3-point shooting night against the Hawks the other day. Also, to the point about the starting lineup, weirdly enough, they've been really good. The 5, they've been 8.7, I think, points per 100 possession. They've been outscoring teams. So maybe that translates tonight now that the bench is fixed with Gabe and Victor, coming back to life. So hopefully tonight, everything kind of rounds into form. But with Miami, I can never count on that. So, but we'll see,
Yeah, absolutely. So let's get into the prize picks. You talked about him finding his footing, and I think when you're able to come back from an injury and just get a little more confidence on your legs, it allows you to play a little bit better. Obviously, 15 points the last time out. Timmy, they have him at 18.5 for the prize picks tonight. Are you going over on that, or are you going under?
I'm gonna get over. Just again with Herb out, I see him going off. If you told me Herb was playing, I was gonna have Aero in jail. Honestly, you could hear it in my voice. I love Herb Jones' game, but with no Herb, that is going over.
Let's get to Bam Adebayo Mateo. He is at points, rebounds, and assists, 34.5. How you liking that number?
It is high, but I'm going to take it. I think he's going to have a lot of good opportunities against the drop, and I'd love to see Bam Adebayo attack pick and roll as the ball handler. I think that would be something that would result in some very successful results. But now he is going to have a very big night rebounding the ball as well, because his primary matchup, I know the Heat go to the zone a lot too, but that he is probably going to be the best bet at stopping Jonas Valanciunas, and he stays next to the lane. Oh, hello, Gad. So I think Bam Adebayo, he won't have the highest assist totals because Kyle Lowry is back, but scoring the basketball and rebounding, he should go off. He lately has about 1 nasty putback a game. He could probably have 2. The New Orleans Pelicans give up around 50 points in the paint per game.
He went off against the Pelicans last year as well in New Orleans.
Ooh, good stat.
Good stuff for their one. So, Gad, since you're joining us, let's throw you right on the fire. We got prize picks coming up live. We got Jimmy Butler, 21.5 points. How you feeling tonight on that one?
21.5.
No Herb. Herb.
Over. Jimmy's going to cook today.
Convincing.
It's cooking. It's too easy.
Fair. Marco, they have Kyle Lowry's coming back off the injury. They have him at 9.5 points. How are you feeling about that one?
Yeah, that sounds about right. Honestly. The disrespect.
9.5? Oh my god!
I'm going under on that.
They have Jose Alvarado with more points than him projected.
Honestly, he might go with 8, and that's going to be a high night for him. So I'd go under because I'm not trusting Kyle to score more than. I don't remember the last time he scored in double digits. So honestly, I'm in that under.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. So I think with all the picks, if Alejandro wants to highlight that, we got a Jimmy Butler over on points, Bam over points, rebounds, assists, Kyle Lowry under on the points. And I think we touched on Timmy's giving us the hero over on the 18.5. So I think that's a pretty good set right there. We got 5 solid picks coming to you. Take the under on Kyle saying, Gad, make sure you guys do that. Yeah, so I'm go ahead and I think that's a pretty good pick. And like I said, make sure you guys use the promo code 5, spell it out FIVE, and use the flex play, because even if one of those guys go off or maybe one of the guys don't, you still can time and a half your money. So you're might not 4 times your money, but you still win. And that's the most important thing, is that you're making money with your money. So that's the most important thing. Gad, I'm going to let you give us your closing thoughts on the game tonight, obviously against the Pelicans with no Zion, no Brandon Ingram. Give us your thoughts on tonight's game and then give us a prediction as well.
I will not be wearing my Trey Murphy III jersey for this game, as much as I would love to. Love my guy.
Welcome to the team, because me and Marco spoke about Trey Murphy all night.
I know I'm on a panel with a bunch of guys who know ball, so I know you guys know. But I think the Heat should win tonight. You look at the roster that the Pelicans are throwing out there. Still a very talented team. Don't get me wrong. But they I think are devoid of that like top end talent. And for as good of a coach as Willie Green is, I did have winning coach of the year. I think the Heat just have enough talent to win this game on the road, despite it being more or less a tougher place to play. The Smoothie King Center kind of goes a little bit crazy since they've gotten good at basketball. But I'm rolling with the Heat here. I think they should be able to win. I'm expecting a big game from Jimmy. I'm expecting a big game from Tyler. And I feel like a big game from Bam at this point is kind of a given. But then again, simultaneously, sometimes you just don't know. So the amount of times that I've said, oh, the Heat are the more talented team if they lost that game has happened multiple times. So I could be wrong. But despite the loss against the Hawks, I'm still pretty confident in this team kind of getting their record back to the place of being like a 5th seed or a 4th seed or whatever it may be, and winning like 45, 46 games. So I'm rocking the Heat W tonight.
Yeah, I mean, shout out to Charles Barkley. I may be wrong, but I doubt it. Timmy, where are you feeling about this game? Give us your prediction for tonight's game and let me know how you're feeling.
As uncomfortable as I am about Larry being back, and as scared as I am of Trey and CJ McCollum going off, because they will, I still think the Heat have just way more talent, and are definitely going to overcome and win this game. The home base will definitely boost up guys like Marshall and Murphy, and CJ is just been on a tear right now that people aren't talking about because there's just too many guards in the West who are talented. But people got something for him. People going to put that man in jail tonight. CJ is going to have a hard time against people. But yeah, for sure I have a Heat win. Even though I'm sorry guys, I'm out on Larry. I'm completely out. That's just me though.
CJ McCollum is going to be welcome to the Depot Penitentiary. Shout out to the Usos. Mateo, how are you feeling about tonight's game?
Well, the New Orleans Pelicans, their record without Zion Williamson is 9 wins and 6 losses. Without Ingram, it's 16 wins and 12 losses. They're a quality team that's shown that they can win without their best players, but I doubt it tonight. I think the Heat have what it takes to force double teams, specifically from Jimmy and Bam when they're attacking the interior. I think Bam is going to give Jonas Valanciunas a lot of problems. In the last game, the Pelicans played against the Cavaliers. Jared Allen, who is a stout defender as well, but not as strong as Bam, was giving Jonas Valanciunas some issues. So I'm going to go with the Heat. I think Victor Oladipo is actually going to help neutralize CJ McCollum, and I think Bam is going to be very aggressive in the zone and take out Jonas Valanciunas.
Marco, close this out, bro.
The Pelicans shot tonight is a lot like how the Heat won some games last year when they were shorthanded, which is chuck up a bunch of threes and hopefully you hit them. That's what the Bucks tried whenever they came to Miami. It didn't work. And that's what the Pelicans are going to probably try tonight. They don't have a lot of lethal guys, but there's a lot of good guys in terms of outside shooting. That'll be the only shot, and that's really a kind of a coin flip. I don't really know if that'll happen tonight, so that's why I'm going to stick with Miami, as uncomfortable as that makes me. I still haven't gone against them, so nobody has receipts about that. I'm never going to go against Miami. If I'm wrong, that never happened. All right, so yeah, I'm going with Miami. So hopefully they don't make me look like a dummy.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, their best shot is going to be putting up threes and hoping they go in. So, I mean, I think that's the best thing. I think Miami's just going to have to make sure that we play disciplined defense, because if we get lackadaisical and we allow like a young team to get out in the fast break, we can get into a hole quickly, allowing them to just get ahead, right? So Miami needs to make sure that we keep everything as tight as far as our turnovers, make sure that we keep our 3-point defense good, and just make shots tough on them, right? Don't have lazy contests where like we've had earlier in the season. I feel like the team is starting to catch their groove. When we know we talk about, effort being a big thing on this team, it seems like the chemistry is starting to get there, right? The it factor that this team had as a collective group last year is starting to come back, and you're starting to see them kind of mesh and gel together as a unit. So I think that's really what we're going to see tonight. I think Miami is going to win. I think this is probably going to be one of the more dominant wins for Miami, given their health tonight. And I do think, yeah, I know, right? I don't really ever say that, but I do think Miami gets it done. And hey, I may be wrong, but I doubt it. So make sure you guys like the video. Make sure you guys subscribe if you guys are Miami Heat or any Miami sports fans. Make sure you guys go to Mark Brown PA, get your free consultation. If you're young with a family, you want to make sure that all your assets are taken care of. You don't want to leave anything and have that all be all messed up. So go to markbrownpa.com and then make sure you guys use the Prize Picks promo code FIVE. Double your first deposit up to $100, and then that way you can get 20 free plays and you play those flex plays. So that way you got a little bit of room for error. Thank you guys, and Mr. Alejandro will take it away with some videos.
You could probably do this presser for me as tale of two halves. And, that's not to take anything away from it, man. I could probably sum it up in one sentence. In the first half, they just did not feel us at all. In the second half, they did. That doesn't guarantee anything, but there's a stark difference in terms of our energy, toughness, communication, commitment to the defensive side of the floor against a very explosive offensive team. They can present a lot of different challenges for you, but we had that urgency and edge in the second half, born out of them blowing the doors off of us in that first half, and that's just too many mistakes to overcome, in that second half. Everything had to really go our way, and there were a couple key times where it felt like we were going to get it to 5. We just couldn't quite get it over the hump, and they played well. They definitely had us on our heels in that first half. I can't recall. It feels like one of our poor defensive games in about a month, just in terms of the disposition and commitment on that side of the floor.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how uncharacteristic was that first half? Just because you guys haven't been playing so well defensively.
Yeah, it's sometimes these lessons can be costly in terms of how committed you have to be to your identity. Our defense is paramount to us. That's how we win basketball games, particularly as you bring guys back from injury. You expect to have a little bit of out of rhythm. Not everybody totally in sync. That's okay. We can still win games by defending and keeping it close. And then you have gamers at the end that can figure it out. Jimmy, Tyler, Bam, et cetera. They all can figure it out as long as you're taking control of things and the tenor of the game, as long as you're kind of creating your momentum from your defense.
A 5-second violation of the timeout. Did it just feel nobody popped open, or?
Yeah, I don't think I diagrammed the best play. They defended it well. I thought a couple things were open and they weren't. So that's not at all on the guys. That's more on me.
Your view of incorporating Caleb and Tyler back in after their time is?
Yeah, I mean, the most important thing is that they're back and able to play those minutes. Caleb's energy in the second half was terrific, outstanding. I didn't anticipate playing him this many minutes, but we just had to. I played basically 12 straight minutes in the third quarter, but the momentum was shifting, and really I think he was the one that kind of spearheaded the shift in our whole deal defensively. He was just so active. It was great to see him back out there like that. Tyler, was trying to get in the rhythm in the first half. We finally got in a better rhythm in the second half. And these things are to be expected, and then eventually we'll get Kyle back. But we can't lose sight of how we win basketball games. Have to be able to defend. You got to make it tough. And we've been doing that, for several weeks. So we'll just have to get back to that, on this road trip. And again, that doesn't guarantee anything. That just gives our team the best chance to win games against anyone, anywhere, anytime.
So you often say make them feel you, but you can see it in the second half where you actually physically you can see them putting their bodies against people. Is it as simple as that when you say make them feel you, or is there more to it?
Yeah, that sums it up quite a bit. You know, you can see it, you can feel it. You know, it's not rocket science. We got, we brought a less than best effort and focus in the first half, and they're an explosive offensive team. You know, they got in a great groove. By the time we finally committed to the effort and the toughness defensively, it was about 5 minutes left in the half, 6 minutes left in the half. Well, then they started to make some tough shots. Like, I thought we defended some things well those last few minutes of the first half. But if you give a team right out of the gate 12 free throws in the first quarter, all the layups, all the easy ones that they need to get, then you got to deal with their best, and that's tough against any team. We're not going to win a lot of games, particularly on the road if we're giving up 120 or whatever we scored, 113. That should be enough for it to be a real possession game. And that's what we'll have to just focus on the rest of this road trip.
What makes Victor so good as a distributor? 10 assists, no turnovers today. Why is he able to do that? How's he able to do it so well?
One, because he's a talent. And he also cares. Like, he's been beating himself up about some of his turnovers and his handle, the last few games, even when he's played really well. He's really he's conscious of his responsibility when the ball's in his hands. He has pride in doing things well for his team offensively. And then initially, when we started bringing him back into this role, that's really what it was. It's more of a defender, facilitator, help us get into offense. And as he's gotten more comfortable, he's been able to score more points as well. All right, thank you.
And what was the most challenging thing in the first half to get to the defensive spot that you guys eventually got to, but just wasn't quite there early?
Yeah, I think we let our offense dictate our defense a little bit in the first half. We weren't getting stopped, so it was leading us always taking the ball out and having to run offense instead of, how I say, when we're disruptive and we bind the defense, we get stops and we run in transition. I feel like nobody can beat us. In the first half, that was just ball was going through the net for him. So we was taking it out of it and running half-court offense.
When you guys do get to it, is it because you've decided, is it because you got to look at halftime at maybe a little bit of what's going wrong or get an instruction?
Yeah, just looking at it and then everybody buying in. I feel like that's the biggest thing, when you look at that first half, it's a total different team than the second half.
When Spo says make them feel you, is it as simple as just putting your body on them?
Nah, it ain't as simple as that. Most people who don't play basketball would think that, but nah, what do you mean by that is like, we got to get up into the ball. We got to make them uncomfortable. And that's what he means by that, making them uncomfortable, getting them into situations where they're not comfortable being in, having the ball with 4 seconds on the clock, shot clock, and, we sending a double. So, just making them uncomfortable in that sense.
Caleb and Tyler back out there, and is there a sense that this roster is finally starting to get healthier after what you guys have been
Yeah, it's a long season. It's up and down, man. For us is just getting guys healthy, and happy to have T and Caleb back because now we can get into a sort of a normal rhythm again.
How is it having Victor as a distributor? 10 assists, no turnovers. I know you're a distributor too. How's it having another ball handler / distributor out there?
It makes obviously not only my life easier, but everybody else's when you got a guy that can get 10 assists. You want a guy like that to have the ball in their hand, so he can make life easier for everybody else.
Tyler, first of all, before we get into the game, just how good was it to be back on the hardwood? I know you were trying to find your rhythm, and you got there, but still, it just has to be nice to be back out with the guys.
Yeah, no, it felt amazing just to be out there and, get out there again with my teammates. Anytime I can come back from, missing some time with some different things, then it feels good. So obviously we wanted to win, but like you said, just felt good to get back out there.
What do you feel like you guys did best to respond to what ailed you all in the first half to really get back into it in the second?
I thought our intensity just picked up. We just played harder. In the first half, it was too easy for them. They were too comfortable. They were able to do whatever they wanted, get whatever shot they wanted, and they made those shots. And then once they got comfortable, they hit the tough shots. They got confidence, and then in the second half, I thought we came out with a lot more energy and disposition for them to feel us, and things were obviously tougher on them in the second half, and it just wasn't enough to get the win.
How much does Vic kind of help in that second unit as just a connector, as a facilitator, guy who can play the ball and help others?
Yeah, he just impacts the game in so many different ways. Some nights it's scoring, some nights it's passing, and every night is defense. So. Him coming in off the bench is big for us, and just happy he's back to somewhat of the level he's been in the past.
How was a two-child household change from a one-child household?
It's a lot more screaming. There's just a lot more people in the house. It's just a lot going on, man. It's a lot going on. 100%.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Yes, sir.
Thank you.